Alright guys, the Sparrow shipment finally arrived and we got a lot to talk about tonight. The first one we're going to be talking about is the Sparrows Tuxedo kit. But before we get to that, let's talk about who won the access card. So out of 1,900 unique comments, Rake, if you will PM your mailing address to me in, looks like in Australia, I will put this thing in the mail to you. Congratulations. Against long odds, you won, buddy. The other thing I'd like to do before we get to this kit is talk a little bit about how things have gone since video number 753 when we started on this experiment that we're calling the Consumer Reports of Lockpicking. And I'm doing this for transparency. I want you guys to see exactly where we are. So far, I have spent a little over $1,000 on review items. You haven't seen most of them. In fact, some of them are still in shipment. I've got a shipment from Mad Bob's and also from Storm Lockpicks en route, and then I'll show you the rest of the Sparrows here in a moment. To send out the items that have been won by people, I've spent about $94 for a total of investment of so far $1,105. Now, what have you guys sent in? Well, we're well on our way. $319 or almost $320 has been sent in by PayPal. Now 23 people have sent in contributions on that, and I know who they are. In fact, most of them I sent a personal note of thank you. So if you're one of those guys, you probably already received a note. If not, that means you probably have the name just came in today. There were 7 names today. And so I'd like to formalize this a little bit. Rather than send kind of those impersonal emails to thank you, I'd like to recognize you guys on camera. So the 7 that were not included in the notes are Matthew Smith, Ollie Fallon, James Cox, Jeffrey Rosenthal, Henrique Nogard, Justin Marshall, and Frederick Germain. Guys, you're not going to get a note because I prefer to give you my thank you on camera. There's also a button that YouTube puts up there called the YouTube support button, and I don't know who hit that button, but $86 has come in on that for a grand total of about $406. So we're about 35% there, but we still have a lot of items to review, and so I'm pretty sure that's not going to be an issue. A while back, some guys from Europe said that the PayPal wasn't available to them and the YouTube support button was not visible in the YouTube in their country. So they asked I put together a Patron account, which I did about a week ago. And since then, 10 of you have contributed $1 each so that's per video though. That's not a one-time, and so every video now you guys are going to be paying in $10. So I guess the secret here is to produce like 5,000 videos in a month, and man, we could pay for all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I wanted to thank you, and I wanted to show some transparency about where we were exactly in this great experiment called the Lockpicking Consumer Reports. So let's get to this. This is the Sparrows Tuxedo. It's going to be hard for me to be unbiased because I've carried one of these in my back pocket every day for the last several years. My case, well, first of all, very nice case. You got double stitching everywhere it needs to be. The new model of case, which is this one, has heat seal on all the edges, so you're not going to get any fraying. And I think you can probably make it out. It even is more subdued than it used to be with their logo. Very thin, very light. Tuxedo, they call it that for a reason, because you can slide it in the top pocket of a tuxedo and no one will ever know it's there. Very durable case. And to prove it to you, let me show you mine. This is several years old, and the only wear that I have on this are the edges here, which in the beginning I suppose were not heat sealed. This is actually cotton, the new one is nylon. Still a very nice case, and that's the only wear after all those years of carrying this in my back pocket. You can see that, that gentle but muscular looking curve of my tuchus, but that's a subject for another video. Let's get back to business here. The tuxedo, very nice. When we open it up, Velcro closure, nothing's going to be falling out of there. And inside of there, that's everything you get. And literally, it's everything you need for standard locks and a little bit of help with security locks as well. Let's go through them. All right, first let's pull out the tension wrenches. Everything you see here, by the way, is 303 stainless steel, very durable material. It's about the toughest material you can use to make lockpicks. You get 3 of these twisted tension tools, and they're each of the 3 different widths, so any lock you can imagine, you got the proper width. If you like the Z-style tension wrenches, if I get this to come out, sometimes they get a little bit caught up on the Velcro because it's a brand new case. There we go. Again, all stainless steel, one of each of the 3 different widths, long end for recessed lock faces, and then the shorter end for non-recessed. So 6 different tension wrenches, which is kind of neat. Sometimes finding the right tension wrench is the biggest part of your battle. On the picks themselves, let me pull all these guys out. I'm going to keep that last one in there for a reason. Alright, what do we get? Well, we get a standard hook. And you'll notice there are no handles on these, and again, that's everyday carry. You want to keep it as flat as possible. Now in my kit, I've already pulled mine out, I like to put shrink wrap on the handles. It isn't absolutely necessary, but it does make it just a little bit more comfortable to use if you're going to be working on a lock for a long period of time. It doesn't add significantly to thickness. You don't have to do it. There are no sharp edges on these. Let me set these down here just give you a close look. There are no sharp edges. Come on, baby. And you can see these have been tumbled, some attention to detail here. They have smoothed out almost all of the machine marks, unless you look, let me see if we can look real close down in the crevice. You can just see some machine marks there from probably grinding or sanding. So they are not perfect, but they are really close to being perfect. You could use them as is, but I think I'd go ahead and hit them with some 1000 grit sandpaper just to round off those final edges, just to make them, in my book, make them perfect. Okay, you get the standard hook. You get a modified snake rake, and Sparrows has modified this one just a little bit to say that it makes it more efficient when you're raking best locks and arrow locks. You notice that snake is leaning forward just a little bit like he's running, but as far as I can tell, that's the only difference. All these, like I said, are 25 thousandths. This one is called a hybrid and is very similar to the standard hook, except the tip of it has a little bit of a club on it to make it easier to place. Get up there. Make it easier to place on the key pins in some cases. I look on that as kind of almost like a deforest diamond, but not quite that deep. You get a half diamond L-rake, city rake. I mean, perfect shaping. There's no, you can even see the rounding on that. I didn't do any work on these, just took them right out of the wrapper. So very nice shape, no burrs or anything on these. Very nice work. A lot of attention to detail. And then the pick that we all want, the triple peak or the Bogota, very nicely done, and I think no kit's complete without that. Alright, I've showed you all of those. Those are all 25 thousandths picks, and I keep them in the back. And then in my own kit, I keep my hook up in the front, and this one is just a little different. It's identical in shape to the standard hook. Come here, you. It is a standard hook, except when you flex them, you notice it's very thin. That's because he's 15 thousandths. So if you find yourself facing a narrow keyway, paracentric keyway, you've got a tool to address it with. Unlike some of the other kits, this one comes with everything you need. So if you're a beginner or an intermediate picker and you're looking for a everyday carry kit, or even something to use every day if you add some shrink tube on the handles to make them more comfortable, I can't think of a better kit to go for. This, by the way, is $39 from Sparrows Lockpicks, and I highly recommend it. I think it's well worth even more than $39. Anyway, fellas, if you are interested in winning this, go ahead and leave a comment, and then after 24 hours, as always, I'll randomly select somebody using the computer, and you will win. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time. Stay safe. Stay legal.